now or visit windownation.com.
Good morning, America. Confirmation firestorm. A crucial vote on Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh just hours away. Thousands on Capitol Hill to protest. From the steps to the halls. Overnight, Judge Kavanaugh makes his closing argument, defending his fiery testimony, but admitting he might have been too emotional and said things he shouldn't have said. Now, senators poised to decide. We're live on Capitol Hill.
Flash flooding alert. Heavy rain hammering the Northeast overnight, and now the Midwest bracing for severe storms and even snow.
The terrifying accident at a pumpkin patch. A 2-year-old now in critical condition after this inflatable bounce pad goes flying. The toddler stuck inside.
ABC News exclusive. Monica Lewinsky here live. Her new anti-bullying campaign to fight harassment. Only on GMA this morning.
Vanished. The urgent search for a missing mother of 2. She disappeared mysteriously in the middle of the night. Her husband says he last saw her when they went to bed. Authorities now using dogs and drones to find her.
'Cause I'm gonna fight like a girl. And Fight Like a Girl, our giant breast cancer awareness event. Supporters across the country and here in Times Square donating their hair. And the singer whose song is inspiring so many thrivers, Anita Cochran, is here performing live.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And Anita Cochran is also a thriver. Good morning, America. Great to have you with us on this Fight Like a Girl Friday, and we cannot wait for our big event.
Really excited for it. People all across the country and right here in Times Square, they're all joining in, donating their hair and their money to support this incredible cause, the fight against breast cancer.
This is going to be a really incredible experience throughout our show. Looking forward to it. Up first, of course, we want to get right to that Supreme Court confirmation battle dividing the country right now. Overnight, Judge Kavanaugh wrote that op-ed making his case, his final case for the nomination. Thousands protesting on Capitol Hill.
But that anger is not slowing down the Senate. A crucial vote taking place this morning. And Judge Kavanaugh could be confirmed as early as tomorrow. It could all come down to 4 senators. And our senior congressional correspondent, Mary Bruce, starts us off. She's there on Capitol Hill with the very latest. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. Well, in just a few hours, the Senate will hold that key vote to advance Kavanaugh's nomination. And while a path to his confirmation is emerging, this is not a done deal yet. Those 4 senators are still undecided, but this morning the clock is ticking for them to make a decision. With a critical vote just hours away, President Trump overnight praised his Supreme Court pick.
And you see what's going on in Congress right now with one of the most respected people, potentially, hopefully, Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. What they're putting him through, and his family is incredible.
And this morning, the White House has cause for optimism. 2 of the key undecided votes seem satisfied with the FBI investigation into allegations of Kavanaugh's sexual misconduct. Senator Susan Collins telling reporters it appears to be a very thorough investigation. And Jeff Flake of Arizona, who demanded the FBI investigate after this encounter with 2 women.
You're telling me that my assault doesn't matter. That what happened to me doesn't matter.
Now, Flake's sounding positive after seeing the report.
And I was a yes before this, and now we're in the process of reviewing it. But thus far, we've seen no incredible corroboration, no new corroboration at all.
Another key holdout, Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, is still undecided. So is Democrat Joe Manchin. One key senator has announced a decision, Democrat Heidi Heitkamp, who faces a tough re-election battle in the red state of North Dakota. She tells Fargo station WDAY News she's opposing Kavanaugh, even if it costs her her job.
If this were a political decision for me, I certainly would be deciding this the other way. You know, there's an old saying, history will judge you, but most importantly, you'll judge yourself. And that's really what I'm saying. I can't get up in the morning and look at the life experience that I've had and say, yes to Judge Kavanaugh.
On Capitol Hill, the political pressure is tremendous. Protesters making their voices heard.
Why aren't you brave enough to talk to us and exchange it with us? Don't you wave your hand at me. I wave my hand at you. When you grow up, when I grow up, we grow up. How dare you talk to women that way? How dare you that first? How dare you?
Taking their case directly to senators. While in the basement of the Capitol, senators shuffle in and out of this secure room to review the FBI's report. Behind these doors, just a single copy, 46 pages of summaries from interviews with 9 alleged witnesses. But Democrats are challenging the investigation.
The whole thing is a sham.
They say the review is incomplete, the scope too narrow, with key witnesses left out, including Christine Blasey Ford and Judge Kavanaugh himself.
Democrats agreed that the investigation scope should be limited. We did not agree that the White House should tie the FBI's hands.
Republicans insist the FBI report was thorough and backs up Judge Kavanaugh's story.
So don't tell me you haven't spent enough time. Also, I feel very good about where this nomination is right now.
And now they're ready to vote.
Enough already. Let's vote.
Now, the Senate will hold that vote later this morning, setting up a possible final vote tomorrow afternoon. But there is one more potential wrinkle here. One Republican senator, Steve Daines, is going to be out of town. But, guys, he has a very good excuse. It's his daughter's wedding. Republicans here don't seem too concerned. Steve Daines reportedly said he's confident of 2 things happening this weekend: that Judge Kavanaugh can be confirmed and that he is going to walk his daughter down the aisle. Robin.
All right, Mary, thank you. Michael?
All right, thank you, Robin. Now to that plea from Judge Kavanaugh overnight, the Supreme Court nominee writing an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal making his final case that he deserves to be voted to the court. ABC's Terry Moran is in Washington with more. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Michael. You know, it's almost unheard of. I can't remember anything like it for a Supreme Court nominee on the eve of a Senate vote to publicly campaign for confirmation. But on both sides in this nomination, all those old rules went out the window long ago. And so this morning, Judge Kavanaugh himself comes out swinging.
This morning, Judge Brett Kavanaugh is making his closing arguments in an article he's written for the Wall Street Journal.
This confirmation process has become a national disgrace.
Defending his intense testimony and his nomination to the Supreme Court, Kavanaugh writes, "My hearing testimony was forceful and passionate. That is because I forcefully and passionately denied the allegation against me." He also admits, "I might have been too emotional at times. I know that my tone was sharp and I said a few things I should not have said." Kavanaugh did not elaborate on what those few things might be. His confrontational exchanges with senators during the testimony sparked questions about his temperament.
You're asking about, blackout. I don't know. Have you?
Could you answer the question, Judge?
He's also raised eyebrows during moments like this, striking a starkly partisan tone.
This whole 2-week effort has been a calculated and orchestrated political hit. Revenge on behalf of the Clintons, and millions of dollars in money from outside left-wing opposition groups.
This morning, Kavanaugh writes, "The Supreme Court must never be viewed as a partisan institution. The justices do not sit on opposite sides of the aisle." As President Trump continues to back his Supreme Court pick,
Democrats have been trying to destroy Judge Brett Kavanaugh since the very first second he was announced.
Judge Kavanaugh continues to face sharp criticism, including these tough words from former Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens, who now says Kavanaugh should not sit on the Supreme Court bench.
He's a fine federal judge, and he should have been confirmed when he was nominated. But I think that his performance during the hearings caused me to change my mind.
That is an extraordinary rebuke. Justice Stevens often voted liberal, but he was always considered a cordial and very correct colleague up there. His willingness to denounce this nominee, that's a sign of the challenges Judge Kavanaugh and the court will face if he's confirmed by the Senate. Cecilia?
Okay, Terry, thank you. It is going to be a huge day in Washington. And joining us now is a key member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Democrat Chris Coons of Delaware. Senator Coons, thank you so much for joining us on this very busy day. Let's go right back to that extraordinary op-ed published overnight written by Judge Kavanaugh. He says, quote, "I was very emotional last Thursday, more so than I have ever been. I might have been too emotional at times, and I said a few things I should not have said." You had said he crossed a line during his testimony last Thursday. Do you accept this mea culpa from Judge Kavanaugh?
It was clear to me that Judge Kavanaugh came out of the gates last Friday very emotional, very raw, very angry. But he said things that he should not have. As a sitting federal circuit court judge, he knew better than to engage in an aggressive partisan attack, not just on Democrats, but on folks who opposed him. And as he pointed out to us at the beginning of his testimony last Friday, he himself had carefully written it and reviewed it. That was a planned slam at the Democrats on the committee, and I frankly think he crossed a line in terms of judicial behavior and showed us things about his temperament that I think the undecided senators ought to be weighing very carefully today.
Let's go back to this supplemental report by the FBI. You've now read it. Do you acknowledge that it does not contain any new evidence that brings credibility to the allegations of sexual assault or misconduct raised by Dr. Ford or Deborah Ramirez?
Well, you can't find what you don't look for. There were a few people interviewed, and they were the people who were potential eyewitnesses to both incidents. But both Debbie Ramirez and Dr. Ford came forward when they were interviewed in Ramirez's case or when they testified to the committee and tried to offer additional corroborating witnesses who were never interviewed. My office has heard from many of them. They're now out in press reports trying to give statements. I would agree that the materials that I read did not provide direct corroboration, but there were a dozen, 24 other witnesses who were not interviewed. And so I was disappointed in the scope of this interview, and I was disappointed in the scope of the materials. This is not the investigation that I thought the FBI would do and that the American people deserve.
But you're taking issue with the scope, but Senator, this was your idea. You are the one who proposed this one-week pause.
That's correct, absolutely. And I'm grateful to my friend Jeff Flake for being the person who helped make it happen. I appreciate that we did pause for a week while there was an FBI investigation. The scope was set by the Republican majority in the Senate and then conveyed to the FBI by the White House counsel. So the idea that we should have an FBI investigation where for a week they followed all the leads for the current credible allegations in front of the committee was something I enthusiastically supported and called for. I don't think that's the work product that's in front of us. I am not blaming the FBI. I'm simply saying that the scope of this additional background investigation was too narrow for there to be corroborating evidence for Dr. Ford or for Debbie Ramirez.
Final question
is
Judge.
There was nothing in this report. Yes.
Final question, sir. Is Judge Kavanaugh going to be the next Supreme Court justice?
I don't know. Several of my friends who are undecided have not returned my calls in the last day, and that typically is a way a senator tells you they're busy deciding. I think this will be very close. And we'll have to find out later today, this morning, when we get to the Senate and vote.
Senator Coons, thank you. Robin?
All right, Cecilia, thank you. We're going to bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. And all along it was said that this was going to be a limited investigation, but was it taken to the extreme?
Well, the question became, are they looking at whether he lied in front of the Senate, or are they looking at simply can they find corroboration for the Dr. Ford and Ramirez allegations? And it seems that they decided not to go for the broader investigation into exactly what he said, and instead went for a much more limited version. But remember, this is not a criminal investigation. In effect, the president is, as people call him, the client here. And he's saying to the FBI, in the form of his White House counsel, here's how far we want you to go with this. And when you look at it that way, and you say this is not really entirely up to the FBI how far they're going to go, it starts to make a little more sense as to what they did and didn't do.
Even though we heard from Dr. Ford and Judge Kavanaugh in that hearing, the FBI chose not to interview them. And people are wondering, is it truly a valid investigation? And as the senator just said to Cecilia, there were so many others who could back up their stories.
I think it's actually more important about the other people that they didn't interview than whether they re-interviewed Brett Kavanaugh and interviewed Dr. Christine Ford. I think that they pretty much laid out their cases there in front of the Senate with numerous questions. You can say it still would have been useful to talk to them. I don't think that that's the salient point here. The more salient point is the one that Senator Coons is making about how far did you want to go with this? Did you want to allow it to have additional tentacles when people came forward and said, maybe you should talk to this person and that person, and whether they did that or not?
Quickly, your take on the judge's op-ed.
In the Wall Street Journal, I think he had to do this, meaning in the legal community, the biggest problem he was having was his testimony. Was the fact that he was talking about left-wing opposition groups and Clinton revenge, and that was not helpful to him, and I think he wanted to address that.
All right, Dan, thank you. Cecilia?
Okay, Robin, thank you. And we'll have special coverage, of course, of today's hearing all morning long. Let's turn overseas now to that devastating earthquake and tsunami that hit Indonesia. Today marks 1 week since it struck. The death toll is still climbing. More than 1,500 people killed, 70,000 people homeless. And now time is running out for crews hoping to find survivors. Rescue operations have been stalled because the land there is still so saturated. Michael?
All right, thank you, Cecilia. Now to Chicago, a city on edge this morning, awaiting a verdict in the trial of police officer Jason Van Dyke, who's charged with murder for shooting 17-year-old Laquan McDonald. The case now is in the hands of the jury, and ABC's Alex Perez has the latest.
This morning, the police force here, more than 12,000 officers standing by ready to react. The case turned over to the jury Thursday afternoon. Van Dyke is accused of killing 17-year-old Laquan McDonald, shooting the teen who was holding a 3-inch knife 16 times. Van Dyke emotionally testified he fired his gun because the teen ignored commands to drop the knife and lunged at him.
I was yelling at him, drop the knife. I yelled I don't know how many times.
But the incident, captured on police dashcam video, appears to show McDonald, who was high on PCP, walking away from Van Dyke when he is shot. The release of the video in 2015 sparked months-long protests.
16 shots! 16 shots!
With a verdict now possible at any moment, businesses worried about protests preparing to shut their doors. Schools also getting ready, some holding special sessions to make sure students are informed.
And jurors will resume deliberations later this morning. If convicted, Van Dyke could face life in prison. Robin?
Alex, thank you. Now to that 2-year-old in critical condition this morning after an inflatable bounce pad he was playing on went airborne at a pumpkin patch. ABC's Gio Benitez is here with that story. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, Robin, good morning. Yeah, it was a 59-mile-per-hour gust that caused that inflatable at a pumpkin patch to go airborne, hurting that young boy very seriously. Again, he's in critical condition. We have some police audio right now. Let's listen.
Children inside of a bouncy house that tipped over due to the wind. Child still unconscious.
And a 5-year-old girl was also thrown roughly 30 feet while her 2-year-old brother was trapped inside. The owner writing in part on his personal Facebook page, "It's been a very emotional night. Thanks to everyone for the overwhelming support and concern. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family at this time." Now, the same type of pumpkin-themed bounce pad was involved in a New York accident last October, injuring dozens of kids. And last year at a carnival in South Carolina, 5 kids were injured when a bounce house just blew away. We're just hoping for the best here for that young boy, guys.
We certainly are, Gio. Thank you.
Dangerous. Thank you, Gio. And now to Ginger with flash flooding in Pennsylvania. And Ginger, the new storm that's coming to the central U.S.
Yeah, we have a lot going on the map. Upper St. Clair, Pennsylvania. This is just south of Pittsburgh. You can see probably not getting the tires changed right there at that image. But watch this. The flash flood watch is on from Chicago back to Madison, even Cedar Rapids. These are areas that have had, in some places, more than 15 inches more than they usually do at this time of the year. All right, the weekend getaways now, brought to you by Abriva.
For you, it's always leap over look, now over later, and pause not even in your vocabulary. So when a cold sore tingle strikes, you act on it. Only Abriva can get rid of a cold sore in as little as 2.5 days when used at the first sign. It starts to work immediately to block the virus and protect healthy cells. Nothing gets rid of a cold sore faster. And because Abriva acts on it, you can too. Act on it with Abriva.
Most of today, your temperatures will hover around the lower to mid 70s. Short sleeves, yes, but not much in the way of getting used from the sunglasses. We're going to have a mostly cloudy day, but at least it is going to be turning more comfortable with humidity falling. As far as your Saturday goes, it's going to be a little drizzly in the morning, maybe some late day sunshine, the high 75. More sunshine for Sunday, the high 83, and then kind of sticky and humid for Columbus Day, your high 84 degrees. Next chance of rain, best Thursday next week.
Coming up, our exclusive with Monica Lewinsky. She's here live. What she's doing to help people take back power from bullies.
And a desperate search for a school teacher and mother who vanished from her home. Come on back.
What's so special about Jacksonville, North Carolina?